All right, peace family. Welcome to another episode of Reading the Book of Power. This is episode 5, and it's going to go over Nyerere's speech to develop a country takes goodwill from the state. Before we read it, I want to show you what it sounds like from Nyerere himself. So this is one of the videos. This is probably not the same video I used, but if you see Afro-Marxists, you know, you got to give them credit. I'm surprised I'm not even subscribed. I should subscribe. But you got to give them credit for putting out a lot of these great videos. But you see this Julius Nyerere interview. Oh, you can't see on the side, but there's, like, they have a lot of stuff. So without further ado, let me just play this, and then we can get to the dissection later.
It's a pleasure to be here, invited. Please, as Chairman of the South Center, regarding African countries' independence, where do you see still urgent problems which need urgent solutions? You mentioned so strongly the corruption, but isn't it also a lack of leadership, a lack of commitment to the people?
That is true, and really that's what we have to address. There is no way in which we can begin to deal with the problems of Africa without leadership and without commitment. People give the example of the development of the Asian countries. In Asia, the road will be built. In Africa, it will not be. So, it's true. Commitment is important, and you have to have a commitment to development. You see it in Japan. It is that commitment of the government of Japan to development. Even now, they're a developed country, but there is a tremendous commitment by the state. Don't listen to this nonsense that the state should give up the direction of the economy. It's nonsensical, and we have so many stupid leaders who think you can develop a country, that somehow you can hand over the development of your country to something called private enterprise, unregulated. Unaachia tu basi. Maneno ya kipumbavu. Nani wameacha? Who had done it? The Japanese have not done it, the British have not done it, the Germans have not done it. But they will be meeting in Halifax in June. They will be meeting in Halifax. What for? To drink tea? What do you think they are going to do in Halifax? The big seven are going to meet in Halifax. To do what? To discuss how to control the economy. It's not a meeting of bankers, it's a meeting of presidents and prime ministers on the economy. And this ignorant people in Africa being deceived, you know, don't leave it to the private sector. Where is the private sector? Where is the private sector in Tanzania to which you are going to leave this development of the country? Where is it? It needs nothing. It needs nothing before you can have it. Is it? So you nothing. This is what the Asian countries have done. And they go on nothing. So the Japanese did it. Korea, tough. It's only now they're beginning to open up their market. How do you open up your market to big competitors when you have no power to compete with big competitors? This is ridiculous. I mean, it's like, madam, I'm sorry. You know, in the world of boxing, yeah? In the world of boxing, there are heavyweights, middleweights, featherweights, and although the rules are the same, you put them separately, in separate rings. The heavyweights in their own ring, the middleweights in their own ring. You don't put in the same ring a heavyweight and a featherweight. Never. How do you do that? That is murder. It can't be called freedom. But that's what the big seven are telling us to do. That Germany and Burkina Faso should get in the same ring. And that is called globalization, freedom, liberalization. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. You protect the weak until they become strong before they can compete. Always. This is the rule. This is the rule everywhere. But our leaders, even if we tell them that, they dare not argue. They don't argue. So you can't say no. So one, as you say, one is the weakness. Our own weaknesses in internal, the internal weaknesses, and really until we remove those internal weaknesses, we can't begin moving. But the internal weaknesses are not the only problem. The problem is this pressure from the rich that we should open up our markets for competition. I'm told we have opened now here for banking, for instance, banking. Tanzania banking to compete with the European and North American banking. This is nonsensical. Is NBC free to open a branch in New York? Can NBC really open a branch in New York? So when you are saying, let's be treated equal, are you really saying that this equality will give NBC an opportunity to open a branch in New York? This is rubbish. Absolute rubbish. So these big banks, they come to Tanzania. I'm told they're beginning to come. And then they find NBC. They're complaining. The NBC is too big. We can't compete for it. NBC is big for what, Northern Bank? Kabanki gani NBC? Nasikia wananung'unika. Wanasema hii banki sasa lazima mtupe ruksa tununue matawi yake. Na inawezekana watu wetu wakubali. So, I'm sorry, I've answered your question. But I didn't want to touch that. I did not want to touch that because that's another area where I once provoked, I don't stop. So.
All right, yeah. So we're gonna jump to the PDF. So you just heard it from Nyerere, powerful speaker, and I'm just gonna post something online quickly. I'm gonna post a video. I shared the video in the YouTube. I shared the video in the YouTube comments. So if you want to go revisit that, you can. Obviously, I transcribed this into the Book of Power, so I'm going to read through and just dissect it and play with it a little bit. I'm just going to say, make sure y'all at least check out this Nyerere clip. I'm going to type that onto my Twitter. So if you guys don't know about my Twitter, it is at Onitaset, Onitaset. And you can find, right now I'm doing like a series where I do intelligent discussion every day, so that's new, and definitely check that out. Let's see if I can also I'm on the Discord, so make sure you check out the Discord. Dang, I was supposed to tell them why to check out the Nyerere clip, but it's whatever. Alright, so peace family, we're gonna do this. So this is Julius Nyerere. This is my introduction for him. Obviously he uses 3 Kiswahili terms in the beginning. Toward the end, he just goes off in Kiswahili, and I didn't bother to translate it. But I said Baba was a powerful speaker in English and Kiswahili. You can kind of see that if, like, he's giving you advanced conversation very simplistically, and it's very relatable, and it's funny. So this is the kind of qualities you want to develop in yourself if you're really looking to be a nation builder. And just to go on that nation builder theme, we have to consider, like, when is nation building going to happen? I want to go by, some people don't like this, but I want to go by Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington says we got to learn to start small before we start large, okay? And starting small kind of means before you nation build, you want a home build. Before you want a home build, you want a family build, right? You want a neighborhood build, and you want a city build. So I kind of want the next governor, the next president, the next king, whatever it is, next emperor. I want them to have been a mayor. So I want to encourage you to be a mayor at some point in your life, you know, because we need more powerful black people in leadership, and you should be striving to be a powerful black person. That's why you're reading the Book of Power. That's why you're sharing. That's why you're listening to this audio, right? So I want you to be a mayor. I want you to be a mayor. You know, you just got to find a city. That's your job right now. Wherever you are, if you're not where you feel that you can be the mayor, then get out. Just go somewhere else. That's what I want to do. I want to say, look, I don't think I'm going to be the mayor of New York City. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be the mayor of New York City. So I just need to dip. You know, right? I just need to dip. So I'm going to be looking around Africa. You know, maybe I might not be a mayor of like Lagos or you know, a big city. Not yet. Who knows? But I want to go to some city and be like, you know what? I think we can do better. I think we can do better. So that's what it is. So Baba Malemu, right? You know, Nyerere is the teacher. Baba Malemu was a powerful speaker in English and Kiswahili. I didn't transcribe his Kiswahili speeches, as that's a project for you. Okay? Now, honestly, there are books on Nyerere, so maybe you should get one of those. But otherwise, this one is good no less. He uses 3 Kiswahili terms here: unachi atu, manena yake pambavu, and waneo gopa, right? Which means you must leave it, stupid words, and they are afraid, respectively. He also mentions NBC, which is a Tanzanian bank. His speeches should be digitized, published, translated, edited, and widely dispersed. He is the 3rd best African of his century out of nearly 1 billion. Baba did promote interracial brotherhood and so on, and you should be mindful not to repeat that, but he was a deep thinker and a deep doer. This is an economics discussion, and one thing to keep in mind on economics discussion is that all economics is group economics, and in the world of races, all economics is race economics, you know? And I want to remind you guys that I'm on Twitter. So on Twitter, I have these intelligent discussions. At one point, there's one of these, I just, you know, kind of do this fake, you know, supportive ADOS thing. And at some point, this brother comes on, and he's just like, no. You know, I show him the glossary. So in the glossary of the Book of Power, you're going to see the law of gain, and we're going to talk about this economics theory, as well as how the law of gain works and how you can profit in this world. Actually, I think, see, I'm going to mention it later. So you're going to see that that's also, I moved that also to the glossary because I was like, that's really important. But what you're going to see is that if you go to Twitter, you're going to look at the first thing I pin. My pinned tweet is going to be a whole bunch of discussions. One of them is on, you know, why do Pan-Africanists want to develop Nigeria. Then there's a long, thorough discussion on that. I kind of jump in and jump out. And basically, you know, we discussed this economics theory. So, you know, if you want to learn from Twitter at all, you can learn from mine, all right? So, moreover, understand deeper that African economics between nations can be mutually beneficial, right? So, you want to understand deeper that, right? J. Rogers once said, the law of gain is buying in the cheapest market and selling in the dearest. As nation builders, we must take Nyerere's suggestion of separated markets seriously, but also concentrate our wealth generation into our hands as Oncobia, right? So that's going to be our people, like our fraternity, our secret society would be Oncobia, our tribe, if you will, whatever, right? Particularly in the hands of our most learned and loyal Lekeru, right? You want the educated to have the money, really, because you know, what's $1 million to what's $10 million to somebody whose only interest is booze and hookers, you know, compared to somebody whose only interest is technology and like weaponry. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference. You have to realize that there's a huge difference between those two. Anyway, this design will make trade between locales mutually beneficial and uplifting for all, as the Keru are those studying lifting everyone up. You know, you want people who are studying and lifting everyone up, not just themselves. You don't want selfish people to be rich, okay? You don't, because that's partly why you have what you have today, right? Until the Keru are about, you need to fulfill that role as Oncobia. You need to read markets, interact with our markets, and build our race from the ground up. This is the intelligence you must have and the responsibility you must own if you truly seek nationhood and independence. It starts with you, Ndugu, right? Ndugu would be brother, sister, sibling, basically, you know, whatever. But again, I want to tell you guys, I'm surprised I skipped over because I just rushed into the video. But remember that this is a part of the KWAZ network, And remember that you have the Harsh Reality podcast, you have the Bitter Medicine podcast, and of course you have the Queen's Council, which is really awesome. So definitely check out those 3 and subscribe here, drop some likes, do all that you know to do, and let us get started. Let's see if there's any chat going on. No chat. So look here, chat. Just drop some drop some comments, say some hellos. All right. What do you think about the video that just happened? You know, what do you think about? Did you find Nyerere to be a dynamic speaker? Like, let me know in the comments. Right. All right. So even now, to develop a country. Now, unfortunately, what I didn't catch on to was that before he says even now to develop a country, he talks about how you need leadership. You know, and he compares Asia and Africa. That should have been included in this book. You know, because that was a really excellent objection. I'm surprised I didn't I'm surprised because the clip that I saw wasn't as complete. It didn't start off with the question, so or maybe it did, and I just didn't scroll back enough. Like, it might be a part of a larger video, and that might be why. Because I think maybe possibly I clipped like a 2-hour, 2-hour speech, and I just didn't. Like, I just jumped ahead because I was just like, oh, he's speaking Kiswahili, I can't understand this, you know. But I'm not 100% sure. You know, this was like 2 years ago I wrote this book, right? But anyway, so even now, to develop a country, it takes tremendous goodwill by the state. All right? Don't listen to this nonsense that the state should give up the direction of the country. It's nonsensical, and we have so many stupid leaders who think that somehow you can hand over the development of your country to something called private enterprise. Unregulated. Unregulated! Onitaset Kumat, right? Which means, let's see what that means again. I know, I should know this better. Oh, you must leave it. Yeah, they're saying you must leave it. You know, you must leave the economy. Now, I'll explain this to you guys, right? Oh, maneno yakan pambafo is stupid words, right? But Onitaset Kumat, basically, he's saying that there are people in Tanzania who's saying, hey, look, let the free market decide, right? And let the state have no role. And unfortunately, the trouble with that is that you then become an object for other people to intervene. You know, people outside of the country. So basically, let's say if you say, hey, nobody should touch the state, let the market do itself, right? Then somebody then a foreigner, right? And let's say I'm a foreigner, right? I'm a foreigner, right? And then I can go in with my money and just dominate a whole region. And I could dominate a region in the sense of, you know what, I want to work these people for pennies in order to exploit their labor, blah, 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 blah. And the state's not going to do anything because the state says, you know what, let the people decide. You know, if this person's doing good, if this person's selling, this person, so on and so forth, let them decide. And then with my money, I can just leave. I can just dip after exploiting people, which is a terrible, terrible thing to do. So what you want is some sort of regulation. You want some sort of, like, you don't mind private enterprise, but you want it to be regulated by the state. And the reality is that that's really the economic arrangement that's everywhere. You know, the idea of public enterprise, while it sounds good, it's complicated. I'm going to say it's complicated. So a lot of people talk about socialism, blah, 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 blah. You know, the reason why public enterprise is complicated is because if the public gets something wrong, or like how the public decides, you know, if you're talking about democratically deciding, you know what, we need more pencils, right? And then, you know, you get these, you know, you're like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get, you know, as a state, we're going to vote, we're going to get the pencils from China. We're going to get this, blah, 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 blah. And then China sends a whole bunch of pencils, a bunch of wood, and it turns out, oh, you know what, this wood is not good for the factory, like the factory that we have in place, and therefore we're at a huge loss. Basically, the whole public loses. You understand? Or even if they, you know, like basically, the way how enterprise, entrepreneurship works is that somebody puts up the investment, right? And then they stand to lose that whole investment. It's just like when I said, when I do this cryptocurrency or whatever, right? You buy the wrong coin, right? And then you're down for a long time. Or you're down forever. Or if you buy the wrong stock, for instance, you're on the stock market. You buy the wrong stock and it goes to zero, you lost all your money. Now imagine if that's the public fund, right? Imagine if it's the public fund. See, it's the difference between one person risking it or one group risking it and everybody risking it. You know? Now what you want is regulation. Now regulation, what that means is What that means is that, hey, you know what? Even if I risk all my money on building like a cupcake factory, if you will, right? If I have workers, I have to pay them a minimum this amount of money. You know what I mean? That's a regulation. If I'm making cupcakes, right? I have to put at maximum this much sugar, or at maximum this much cocaine. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why I bring up cocaine is because, you know, realistically speaking, Coca-Cola, the soda empire today, right, started off with cocaine in its formula. So people were addicted. They were like, yo, I gotta get me some more cocaine. Or no, sorry, I gotta get me some Coca-Cola, right? But it was Coca-Cola, like Coke in the soda. And I mean, I don't know what cola means, but I see it's all over. But basically, yeah, it was like a recipe with cocaine in it. So you know, you want to regulate that, because while that can sell and become an international, you know, model, the reality is that you can't be drugging people. So that's really where the unregulation is. And somebody saying, that's where the regulation is. Somebody saying unregulated, blah, blah. That means that I can now go into whatever, Tanzania, let's say, and be like, here's this super addicting soda, right? Or like with the Chinese, they had MSG in their food. And I don't know if you ever tasted MSG, but it's delicious. You know, like I've had it once because my aunt had, like I had it raw once, you know, like my aunt had like the powder. I tasted that thing. I still taste it today. Like I still taste it today. It's that good. You know, I'm still like fixing to have another piece, but I never did. But it's just like, yeah, you know, it's no joke. Anyway, let's keep going. Alright, so who had done it, right? The Japanese had not done it, right? The Japanese don't have private enterprise unregulated. The British had not done it. The Germans had not done it, right? Meanwhile, they'll be meeting in Halifax, in Mwezi wa Benin. They'll be meeting in Halifax. What for? Right? And that's like some month, you know? I just say, you know, I'm not going to use these single months, right? What for? To drink tea? What do you think they're going to do in Halifax? The Big Seven are going to meet in Halifax to do what? To discuss how to control the economy. You see, what the thing that's because like that was the thing that happened on Twitter, matter of fact. In fact, let me see if I can even open it, right? But that's what happened on Twitter. I was playing around. I was joking. It's called intelligent discussion. So definitely, like I said, join my Twitter, join my Discord. You know, I'm gonna see if I can share the screen for a second, because you know, just you know, whatever. All right. So look, you see, this is me, the Book of Power, at Onitaset, YouTube.com. This is my channel, The Pro-Black Perspective. You're listening to it right now. I'm on Discord too, right? So you click that link and you could join the Discord, right? This is just searching, you know, my name in Twitter, right? This is my 3 intelligent disagreements every day, right? I didn't do anything today, but you see I have these, you know, intelligent, nice disagreements, right? One of them is over here, right here. Why do Pan-Africanists, right? So this is it, right? So this brother, he's a cool brother, really intelligent. United Africa 07. He says, I'm tired of black people wasting their time on useless topics instead of focusing on the work that needs to be done. Can we not all come together to start developing our individual nations and making life easier and more equal for all of us? So I said, look, why do Pan-Africanists, you know, I'm just trolling, right? I'm trolling, I'm just disagreeing to disagree and generate conversation. There's a lot of conversation from this, right? I'll show you, look, see, boom, 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 like a lot, like show more replies and all that, right? But anyway, so I said, why do Pan-Africanists say they want to develop their individual nations, but then whine when black Americans have an individual nation mindset? You know? It's no problem if Nigeria's developed Nigeria, but black American citizens shouldn't develop black America. And then I roll my eyes like I actually care. Now, obviously, I don't care, you know? The reason why, right? And nobody really says this, but the reason why, or they do and I just kind of troll them, right? But the reason why you can develop Nigeria, not black America, is because Nigeria has that political independence or that political potential. Black America doesn't. You see, you know, we go back to Nyerere, and what Nyerere is saying is, look, he's saying, look, the people who decide the economy, the people who control the economy, right? It's not a meeting of bankers. It's not the bankers. It's a meeting of presidents and prime ministers on the economy. The politicians control the economy. Because again, the politicians regulate. And some of you are saying, no, there's this brother who got me watching some AI stuff and blah, 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 blah. And, I hope he's listening, so peace family, how you doing, right? But I started getting recommendations for some Elon Musk video, right? And Elon Musk is talking. And so I watched this video because it was like, why isn't Elon Musk hiring people who aren't Americans for his company, SpaceX, right? And Elon Musk, somebody, comes into the he's at a conference, question and Q&A, and somebody asks him, trying to do a gotcha, like, why are you only hiring Americans, blah blah, and it's supposed to be an international thing, and you're blah blah, and you're such a, like, they pretty much call him a bigot or something. And he says, look, the reason why I only hire Americans is because rocket ships are considered military technology, and it's against the law in America to hire foreigners to develop weapons technology. It's just against the law to share weapons secrets with people who are not Americans. Like unless they go through some sort of security clearance. And even if you want to work in SpaceX, you probably have to go through some security clearance. The point being, though, that even though this guy is some billionaire, right, who's, everybody's looking at him to see what's going on with crypto, blah, 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 right? Even though he's some sort of billionaire, he still has to answer to the politicians. And if he doesn't, he's ended up in prison. Period. You understand? Or he has to end up fleeing or something. Assets taken, that kind of stuff. Because the power of a people is in the politics. This is why I'm telling you, go be a mayor. Go be a mayor. If not a mayor, a mayor's aide. If not a mayor's aide, a congressperson. Go do something in the political sphere. Get your money, obviously. Get your economy, obviously. But make sure at some point you have some sort of influence on the political sphere. If not directly, then indirectly. As in, hey, look, if I want to run, you got my back. You say, look, boss, I'm gonna run some TV ads in that city. I'm gonna run some TV ads in that country. And not just me. It could be the BLF, it could be the EFF, it could be anything. But make sure you're supporting those groups. All right, just make sure you're supporting black political leadership wherever you are. If you choose to be in a city right now, and there's a black politician running, and they radical. They don't have to be radical, but if they're about something, go do pay for their little their little whatever, and get yourself a tax break or something, or get yourself a government contract. There was a sister, matter of fact, I'll tell you this. She ran for, I believe, like a senator. I think she's like a congresswoman. Yeah, she's a congresswoman. She won in Brooklyn with like $300,000. $300,000 for her campaign ad. Like, that was how much money was in her campaign budget. Then she spent like $200,000, right? But she won in Brooklyn, right? And now she's a congresswoman. But see, that $200,000 now, somebody might have given $40,000. Now they doing like some sort of, like, let's say they're a restaurant. Now the Congress people, when they meeting together, or when her crew is meeting together, and she got a federal budget or a city budget, right? Oh yeah, federal budget, matter of fact, to handle food and to handle meetings, blah blah blah. They eat. You understand? Or let's say they're in a restaurant, right? They have a restaurant, but their kid, like a restaurant owner, their kid is interested in politics. They interning now. Like you have to realize that you got to do the scratch your back, scratch my back. And of course, you're asking yourself, well, you talking about scratch your back reciprocity. What would I get if I gave to your campaign? And you already know. I'm not going to say it's nothing. No, I'm joking. I wasn't going to say it's nothing. But what I'm saying is that you already know you would get, if you wanted access in the country, you already know. I'm not saying I'm for sale, but, like, you gotta, like, the world is really the world. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not just some idealism, I obviously, I wouldn't take everybody's. I wouldn't take from everybody. If a white person says, here, I'm like, nah, pause, boss. You understand? Rather lose. Some people rather lose. I don't know. I mean, it's really complicated, but we'll at least understand what I'm saying. All right? It's really complicated, but at least understand what I'm saying. Let's keep going, though. Matter of fact, in the comments, let me know if you understand what I'm saying. because I'm really just trying to flesh out something for you. You know, I'm not saying what I would do, right? But I'm trying to flesh out to you what the world looks like, what's realistic. You know, what's realistic in this world is not that people are sellouts, as much as the fact that, you know, you as an animal, right? You as a human animal, you have to react to those who are reacting to you. You know, you have to do more for those who do more for you. You know, and so you have to get into a position where you can do more for other people so that other people can do more for you. The trouble with us as a people is that we expect people to do a lot for us while we do near nothing for them. You know, we say, hey, you know, like for instance, the common theme in America, I want to go over this. The common theme in America is, hey, we voted for you, right? So did 60 million other people. Like 70 million other people. How do you distinguish yourself from just being a voter? What did you do more than vote? Because these other people did more than vote. You understand? But you feel like you should get the most, even though everybody did what you did. Because if they did it, the person wouldn't have won. Now, of course, you know, you should get something. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But the idea that you should get the most because you did the bare minimum. Right? And then not only just that, you don't even have anything. Like, you don't have anything for them to support. Like I said, I'm about to go to I was looking at this restaurant. They do catering, right? It's a Nigerian restaurant. I'm trying to whatever, right? They do catering, right? No, matter of fact, Ghanaian, right? No, Nigerian. Let's say Nigerian, right? All right, but anyway, so they do catering, and it's like $180 plate for some appetizer. It's feeding 6 people. I'm like, I got bread. I don't got that kind of bread. You know, $190 plate for another appetizer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying to myself, who would buy this, you know, for appetizers for 3 to 6 people, but corporations, but businesses, but politicians. You understand? Now, they give a little bit of money, and then these politicians need catering for their events. Okay? So that's where you get those deals. The same with, Bill Madison podcast. He interviewed, one of the best interviews on like entrepreneurship business. He did with Symphony Chips. They do catering too, or they do like wholesale. You know, but you can't as an individual afford it, but a business can. You know, so Symphony Chips, they sometimes even give to they sell to hotels where you can have chips when you go to the hotel, right? But the point is that you can have that relationship when you do the political, you know, so like you could go to the politician and be like, oh, well, you know, every vending machine in every school should have some gluten-free chips, you know? And then it's like, oh, what brands have gluten-free? Oh, well, my brand does. Symphony Chips does. You say, every school should have black-owned chips available. Oh, where can we find black-owned chips? Well, just how it happens. But you get that in the politician's ear because you already gave to their campaign. So they listen to you like, oh, how can you give more? You know, it's not like some people will say, oh, well, that sounds corrupt. Oh, that sounds like a sellout. No, that's not corrupt. That's just humans. I keep telling y'all that y'all are just like humans are just animals. Okay? Humans are just animals. We're animals that can speak. We're animals that can manipulate and make tools, but we're animals. Okay? Like we can think, we have good complex ideas, but at the core of it, we are just hunters. You understand? We're just hunters. Looking to gain in this world. You know? This politician is looking to, because here's the thing that you gotta realize about politicians. When they are out, they are out. Like Obama can't find, like where's Obama gonna work? You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna be president again. You know? He's not gonna be senator, he's not gonna be you know? Like where's he gonna work? He's not gonna be governor. You know? Where do you go? Where do you go? Or even if you're a governor, where do you go? If you can't get presidency, where do you go? Like when people vote you out, or like let's say Mike Pence. Like this guy Mike Pence, he loses this election, right? Then he's like homeless. You know, he's homeless. He's like sleeping on somebody's couch. You have to realize that there's no real future for people. Or like even though Trump is just president, right? Where does he go after this? Like, sure, you might be like, oh, well, he has his own enterprise, but now he's like trashed around the world. You know, who knows what's gonna happen to that dude? This dude. You know, the other day the Republicans were asking him for donations, and he was just like, no, don't ask me no more. You know, like I don't really follow this stuff, so that's just giving you snippets of clips I saw. Well, not clips, but like headlines I saw. But the point being that, you know, like you talk about these dictators in Africa, after they're voted out, you know, where do they go? Where do they go? I'm not going to name any names, but you understand. Like, that's why they look at the election results and say, nah, I'm standing. You know, somebody stop me. I dare you. Because you have to realize that if you are a professional politician or you're a career politician, you have nowhere else to go. Even if you had money before, it's like, what do you do? But stay in politics. But then you have to, like, you know, like Obama, he might be selling books or something. You know? But anyway, let's go. Or doing movies, or doing, you know, trying to find some hustle from his social capital. But otherwise, you know, if you don't have the social capital, which a lot of these dictators don't, you know. But anyway, let's go to discuss blah blah economy. And these ignorant people in Africa being deceived, leave it to the private sector. Where is the private sector? Where is the private sector? All right, in Tanzania. To which you are going to lead the development of the economy. Where is it? It needs nursing. And this is really important too, because I tell you, one of those conversations, like I said, go to Twitter, look at the intelligent conversations. I'm probably going to do a tweet, I'm probably going to do a YouTube on them eventually, but I mean, I couldn't because I was on whatever. But like, the thing is that somebody pointed out on one of the earlier ones, they said, you know, the difference between Japan and Congo, right? Because somebody was like, you know, the reason why Japan developed after World War II is because, you know, the America helped it. And it's like, the difference between Japan and Congo is that in Japan, in Japan you had, all right, basically in the Congo you had no collegiate graduates. So if America tried to help out a country that had no collegiate graduates, right, it couldn't work. You had no engineers, no, not to say not to say none, but compared to Japan, it was none. You know, Japan had, you know, after the war, it had engineers, scientists, technicians, you know, industrialists, blah, 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 you know, teachers, blah, blah, blah. And in the Congo, where people were just forced to cut rubber trees down, with no education, just forced to behave like the lowest animals, right? You know, after that, what do you do? No, like you have fully functional adults who don't know a thing about electronics. You know, because what you're doing, what they would do is they would climb up trees and cut pieces of it or something. I don't know. You know, I don't know anything about cutting rubber. But the point is that, but that's the same thing, that's the same perspective that they will have. Like, I don't know anything about cutting rubber. If you said, hey, Oni, go cut down, you know, the rubber from a tree, I'd be like, okay, sure. You know, it might take me a while. But then now, when you're talking about developing a country, you're like, hey, Mr., you know, whatever, right? You know, Mr. Whatever. I don't know Congolese names off the top of my head, but you know, you say, hey, all right, Mbali. Let's say Mbali, right? Hey, Mbali, you know, cut down. No, hey, Mbali, put some railroads down. He's like, sure. You know what I mean? Like, or hey, Mbali, refine this steel, you know, into a long strip. You know, like it's just a different. The same as you ask me. Matter of fact, if you ask me, hey, Oni, you know, set up, a hydraulic compressor. You know, I'd be like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like you can't really develop something that's undeveloped. And again, I keep pointing back to you guys that you have to focus on the graduates. So I mean, that was an interesting perspective on the Twitter. So definitely check that out. But the idea is that, you know, you have to have these collegiate graduates or these university trained professionals in order to even develop an economy. Because if you don't, what you're going to have is just basic markets, which is something that you actually see all over the world. Because I told you, I went to Jamaica the other day, right? I went to Jamaica and we went to like a small city. We didn't go to Kingston, right? We went to like a small little city, and everybody who was like quote unquote entrepreneurial was like selling bottled water, selling chips, you know, sitting in the sun doing that stuff. You couldn't expect them to be selling like robots. You know? Like if they had not now, if you were to Japan at this time, maybe they were doing that. You know, I'm not saying, you know, you will have the resources to sell robots, but you'd have the ability to sell robots. Or the ability to build robots. You know, some people, you know, finding some sort of hustle with like engineering skills. You don't find that in our countries, mostly because we don't have that training. So really, really, really critical is that you get that training down. You get that training down, because the idea that you're going to be developed by hands off on top of that, no. And if you remember from last week, Nyerere is talking about, look, go focus on adult education. I'm not going to say that you could teach every adult to be engineer, you know, after a certain point in time. I don't know. I don't really know. But you can prime some people, and this is why you have Boko Waset Nakero. But anyway, let's keep going. Where is it? It needs nursing. It needs nursing before you can have it. So you nurse it. This is what other countries have done, and they go on nursing it. So the Japanese did it. Korea, tough. It's only now that they're beginning to open up their markets. You see, you don't open up your markets right away. How do you open up your markets to big competitors when you have no power to compete with big competitors? This is ridiculous. In the world of boxing, this is one of the good quotes right here, right? In the world of boxing, there are heavyweights, middleweights, flyweights, and featherweights. And although the rules are the same, you put them in separate rings. The heavyweights get their own ring. The middleweights get their own ring. You don't put in the same ring a heavyweight and a featherweight. Never. How do you do that? That is murder. It's got to be called that. But that's what the Big Seven are telling us to do. You see? And he's right. You know, even though the featherweight and the middleweight know they're the same rules, you know, you don't put them in the same ring. Okay? You don't put like Mike Tyson is nice on his feet, but that guy could knock you out. Like in his prime, he could knock most people out. Or they say Mike Tyson, I mean Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is nice on his feet. Mike Tyson, you already know he can knock you out. You know what I'm saying? You know, like unless you got like a jaw of steel or something. But anyway, it's murder. It's got to be called that. But that's what the Big Seven are telling us to do. That Germany and Burkina Faso should get in the same ring, and that is called globalization, freedom, liberalization. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. You protect the weak until they can become strong before they can compete. Always. This is a rule everywhere. But our leaders, even if we tell them that, dare not argue. They can't argue. Wana gopa. Wanoa gopa. You can't say no. Right? I'm going to see what Wana gopa means. I can't remember. Let's see. Oh, they are afraid. Right? So it's like they are afraid. He's like, you know, they're afraid to argue, you know? But that's the system that we're in, right? So he says one problem is the weakness, our own weakness, the internal weaknesses. Until we move those internal weaknesses, we can't begin to move forward. The internal weaknesses aren't the only problem. The problem is this pressure from the rich that we should open up our markets for competition. I'm told we have open banking here. Tanzanian banking is to compete with European and North American banking. This is nonsensical. Is NBC free to open a branch in New York? Can NBC really open a bank in New York? So when you are saying let's be treated equal, are you really saying that this equality will give NBC an opportunity to open a branch in New York? This is rubbish, absolute rubbish. And that's the point, you know, because even New York will have some sort of resistance to Tanzanian banking. But for some reason, Tanzania doesn't have a resistance to New York banking. And I mean, obviously, you know, there are benefits for New York banking. There's, you know, increased finance, increased blah, blah, blah. But you realize that now you have the people of Tanzania in debt to the people of New York. And that can do all sorts of things, unfortunately. Because there's profit to be made in somebody being in debt to you, especially if they don't pay. Because now you can, you know, use collateral and begin to own things of theirs, you know. So if they put up their house or if they put up their land, you know, now you as a bank own that land, own that house, and you can now do things with that land and house. For instance, now that you have their land, right, you can call somebody from New York to go set up shop in that land. You understand? And now you're low key colonizing this other country, like not colonizing, but you understand. So that's really the whole of it. James Mensa said hello, so that's nice. I got one person typing into the thing, but yeah, that's great. Thanks. Hello, James Mensa. Nice to have you here. Let me see. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen on thing. But yeah, all right. So that's really the whole of this paper. What did you guys think? How did you enjoy it? Is it as good when you hear him and then you read it? You realize the value in transcribing, and you realize the value in analyzing and thinking critically and looking deeply into things. So I hope you guys like this. Definitely try to subscribe, share. Check out the rest of the programs on KWAZ Radio. Like I said, Harsh Reality Podcast. That's always fire. Bitter Medicine Podcast, always fire. And of course, the Queen's Council, which is again always fire, right? You know what I mean? But otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I'll hear from you guys another time. Oh, KW.7 is here. Sawubona, that's nice. And all that jazz. So thanks everybody, and I'll hear from you guys another time. This has been the Pro-Black Perspective. This was reading the Book of Power. This was episode 5. So make sure you guys check out the links in the description, and you can get to it. Oh, James Mensa said this is a good paper. Yeah, I'll tell you. And look, if you guys missed out on the beginning, I play the video. Matter of fact, the video is right there in the link. So you guys can listen to it again if you want. So that's the video of Nyerere speaking about this, and definitely check it out. Nyerere is one of the best people we got. So what is the like for KWAZ Radio? That's a good question. But I would just go to the different podcasts. So check out Harsh Reality Podcast. Check out the Queen's Council, and check out Bitter Medicine Podcast. They I would go to them. I know that there's a Twitter page, right, that you can follow, but otherwise, just check out the programs, because and make sure you guys leave comments in the programs too, because people like that stuff. They like to be engaged over this kind of stuff. But anyway, thanks so much, and of course, Shem Yam Hotep.